you doing?
I think what I learned in week one was, well, that was the first time I ever played Dungeons and Dragons, and I saw that, um, you don't need a fancy video game to get people involved, and if you can use something like a role-playing game in that way to teach, then you don't even need any kind of technology budget or anything. You can just all you need is some dice and someone to run people through what you need. Uh, I week two, I learned that again. I guess you don't have to have a fancy video game because RuneScape really wasn't too fancy, but kids still play it all over the place. And so even though it's not that good of a game, in my opinion, it gives me comfort knowing that I don't have to come up with a gangbuster game because the kids can still get into it. Um, for week three, let's see, what did I learn in week three? I forget. I'll come back to that one. Week four, I learned how much addicting WoW can be because I think it's addicting because of the teamwork aspect of it. WoW was a great game, um, which I guess brings me back to week three when we played Quest Atlantis. I think it's a really good educational tool, but personally, I had issues with um, running into problems with the program not working right, and I think it would be a nightmare to try to play that game with 50 kids in my class at a time, and it's taken them like 3 weeks to get back to me with some of the customer service kind of things. And so I think that we really need to figure out a way to make games profitable that are educational, and I think that that will solve some of that because when you're running a nonprofit game like Quest Atlantis, you don't have as much time and as much manpower to get to everybody's problems as you might want to. And I will pass it to Larry.
Okay, for me in the first week, it was really important for me to do the reading. That set the stage for D&D, which also introduced role play for me in a gaming context. I thought the low tech of the game was set up really well. I really enjoyed playing it, and I could actually see that being used in educational learning environment. Week two was really interesting. RuneScape for me was very, very difficult. I found myself just sitting there 45 minutes trying to figure out what to do. Went back to school the next day and grabbed a couple of students, and they happened to be struggling learners. I videotaped them assisting me, and it was just awesome. They came to life. They really got involved in the game. They were able to walk me through and really get me to understand the concept of the game. So that was really interesting. Week three, Q&A. I thought the concept of an educational game in a graphic format of a commercial type game I really enjoyed that. I think that would work. It's some issues they really do need to work out. When educators have to figure out how to keep students motivated with the amount of text for lower level students, finding a way to keep them motivated with the amount of text. There's a lot of reading in that particular game. Week four, just awesome. The WoW is just graphically, as soon as I logged in, I was speechless to watch the graphics in this game. I can also see this being used in education, but I would have to sit down with educators, with teachers, and really work on it to make sure the pacing and the questions, everything is in alignment with the curriculum. But overall, I thought each week was great. Lisa?
Lisa Young. I learned overall the beneficial use of simulation games. I knew there was benefit to games, but I was one of the people who thought a lot of these games were just a waste of time or teaching things that weren't beneficial to kids, probably teaching them things I didn't want them to learn. And I actually, in playing all the games, got to see all the beneficial use, which was really cool. And now I can't wait to use games in different ways. In week one, all the weeks actually, I also started reading the books and found them to be very easy to read and very informative. They really helped me out a lot reading the books. I was kind of hoping that we would play some of the games listed in some of the books, and I will on my own go do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in Dungeons and Dragons, that was my first real role-playing and simulation game combined that I've ever played. So that was really interesting to me. I liked the teamwork aspect of it, and how it was a good basic way for me to start learning how to do role playing. In week 2 with RuneScape, we had a lot of problems figuring out RuneScape. I think maybe a tutorial would help us out in the classes with that. But once we kind of got in there, it was fun. I see where the kids would really like it. It's a little lower scale and confusing and boring if you're a true gamer. But it's all benefit. I listened to some kids talking, and it was very interesting to see how they were using the game to add some social elements to their lives. I liked Quest Atlantis. I would like to help design a game similar to that, but it does have its share of problems still. It was very difficult for many people to get in and not get kicked out, to learn a lot about it. It has some problems, and I also, having taught special needs students for so long, worry about some of the kids with their reading levels. It's not that they don't want to read, it's that they really can't process some of that. So there's a lot of reading involved in it. But I think it would be, if you're going to have to learn some of these things, it was fun to learn some of those things in a gaming environment. So I could see the use of this with some students at school. I have to agree that I think it could be a nightmare. Having run a computer lab last year, just knowing some of the problems you could come in if you don't have all these kinks worked out. If you're setting up the games for everybody to play and then half the kids can't get in, it's a problem. But I think it was wonderful. WoW on week 4 was eye-opening to me. Was not really sure I wanted to play World of Warcraft. I did because I wanted to see what other people play. But I'm just not one who's a big shoot-'em-up violence person. However, I am finding that I'm probably going to go ahead and buy a membership and keep playing it. It does become kind of addictive. And I think part of that is just that, unlike the other ones, the element of getting your quests so quickly is really awesome. I did like, too, that people could help you in this one. And in RuneScape, if somebody was fighting you, nobody could come help you. Whereas here you could be helped with things and do it as a team. And it's been a lot more fun than I thought it would be. I have to admit, and I've learned a lot. I can see where so many kids who told me they played it, I unfortunately did not have students during this time, so I couldn't go talk to any of them about it. But I know that they did play it, that I could help relate to them. And that's it.
Well, I think that, I used gaming before in the classroom, but haven't used role-playing games. And I think that one way I would change my educational delivery is that, for instance, this final project that I made, I'm going to use that in class to teach sight reading. And I'm really excited about it because sight reading is like the most boring possible thing a student can ever learn, and they hate it. And I think that this game that I came up with is really exciting, and I think they'll really get into it. So that's one of the main impacts of this class, specifically for me.